Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. We are back again on another edition of this program where we discuss, among ourselves, the newspaper review. And of course, we also, review other stories making headline, the community watch, the social issues. And of course, we invite our guest in the studio to review the papers with us and share with the general public as well. You can as well contribute on this program via our social media handles, the Facebook, the YouTube, and of course other media platforms. And today I am with Lolly M. Kamara. Lolly, how are you?
I'm okay, Mr. Valde.
You are okay. After the whole Janjambure Kankurang festival. Lolly, where's the money? Lolly.
Hey!
Lolly.
We'll keep that topic for another day.
I want us to discuss the topic now. I want my share.
Because we are putting our house in order, so we'll come back another day and talk about that. We have a special team responsible for accountability.
Okay.
And,
okay.
So we have our auditors, so we'll be auditing soon.
You know, I like the fact that now young people are becoming more aware when it comes to accountability, how important it is for you to respect and protect public funds.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's something that is very significant. And, due to some of the previous experiences, I am seeing most of these organizations now are putting together structures, to make sure there is proper accountability.
That's true, Balde, because you have to be audited at some point, because we have people that are giving you these funds to invest, and they need to know where you put these funds into. Because before you get it, you tell them, this is where I want to put it, this is what I want to use it for. So at the end of the day, you should come back and say, Alhamdulillah, we've been able to use it wisely, and these have been the things that we've put it into. So yes, there is accountability and transparency in whatever we do.
Exactly. So our newspaper review guest is no other than Mohammed S. Bah. Mohammed is our colleague in the media, with his vast knowledge when it comes to media experience, and also the former president of the Gambia Press Union.
Oh yes, our president. He is still our president.
For me, I say it all the time. I started feeling the effect of the Gambia Press Union when he took over office. Before, okay, fine, there was Gambia Press Union. But for me, I'm not saying the previous team, they were not doing their job, but I did not feel that sense of media connection, the Gambia Press Union doing this and that, but I felt it during his time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How are you?
We must commend him for the service.
Come on, it's a duty, you know. I'm fine. It's okay.
And good to have you on this morning.
Thank you once again.
I think for the first time, me and you are in the same platform.
Oh, really?
Oh, for the first time?
I think so.
Okay,
yeah,
he's been coming on this morning.
He have been coming on this morning.
I think I was the first guest on this morning.
Exactly.
And that's
He opened this morning.
So yes, I was the first guest.
Yeah. But sometimes I just come in, not always, but sometimes when they need it. I think today they definitely needed us.
It's good to have you.
Exactly. So I believe before the end of this segment, we will learn a lot from each other, because this is the first time you and MSA are in the platform. The same platform. And it's going to be a very interesting and educative platform today.
Okay.
I hope so.
Yes.
So viewers, MS, what are you up to?
Yeah,
what are you up to at the moment? Because I know you are also a busy man. Recently, I've seen a lot of radio tours. I've seen you advocating for, certain things on radio with your team. And I've also received information you were up country at some point.
Yeah.
You must be very engaged.
Yeah, I was training 40 young people around the country. They converge in Jarasoma on media and information literacy, and which is very important. I think you guys should be discussing around it.
Okay.
And also, when I came back the same Friday, I have to go back also on a tour with the Ministry of Information.
Okay.
Also, the same thing. more or less, like talking about misinformation and disinformation, the information disorder. I think this is very important. I don't know when would you dedicate your time to discuss on this, because what happened is now countries are investing more on information literacy, like how people create, analyze, manipulate information.
Why not?
Yeah, it's important.
It is very important for us to talk about it.
Yeah, it's very important because we've seen a lot of information disorder, a lot of malinformation, the advent of AI, DeepSeek, you know, and all sort of, especially going towards the elections, you see a lot of misinformation and disinformation. And it is common. It's not only the Gambia, but even big countries, you know, uses it against each other as a weapon. Yeah, so it's important. And people, you know, there's a lot of information overload. Everybody has a phone, you know, and then people, as a result of the information they consume, they react to things.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it causes problems, you know, all these problems that we are seeing.
Especially misinformation and disinformation. Yesterday we were with the country head for International IDEA.
Yes, Jane Abafai.
She was here with her
a good partner
communication.
And a sister.
They concluded a training on the, you know, media, you know, how
ethical
and
we were doing, it was a project initiated by us with the when I was there, and I'm glad it's a 3-year project. So because I left, the project is continuing, and which I'm very glad to see that the partnership is ongoing as well. Yeah, this is important because people, information is very powerful, and people, anything that you're doing in life, information is your livelihood, is your life. So whatever you get, you receive, and sometimes people cannot analyze this information. When they see, and anything they see online, you know, most of the people, the perception they have, they believe that this is the case.
That's true. I mean, what we do now, I mean, there is a very sad news coming from Senegal. Youssou N'Dour and his band announced the death of his brother, commonly called Jimmy Mbaye. I mean, he was a guitarist and, you know, very famous. Sometimes there was a time, even if you listen to Youssou N'Dour's music, I mean, when you hear the guitar, even a layman will tell you that's Jimmy Mbaye playing the guitar. You know, so it's a very
that is really a sad news. Yes, you know? Not only for Senegal, but I think for the sub-region.
It was a star.
So we have an insert of Jimmy. Let's take a look at it. Well, I mean, listening to that guitar sound there, a lot of goosebumps, I mean, all over my body. I mean, who doesn't know that song, Brima? Who doesn't know that the sound of, who doesn't know those fingers when it comes to the super étoile music? I mean, it's sad. And we are sending our condolences to Youssou N'Dour and the entire Senegalese, I mean, nation.
It's sad though. You know, he has ended his mission in the world, and this is the human nature. I think I saw a post, Youssou N'Dour posting that they were together over 40 years. Imagine, like 4 decades. That's a huge thing. I think they started the music career with the band Yusundur from scratch. And he's a great loss too. May Allah grant him Jannah.
Well, I mean, that reminds me, I mean, on Tuesday, Tuesday, I was talking to Bachen, one of our staff here. I was talking to him, we were discussing about Lai Ngom, Kabir Ngom, the father of Ses Ngom. As we were discussing, he was taking me through the biography of Lai Ngom. I mean, he was the first Gambian to fill the Gambian Independence Stadium. And I didn't know that.
Wow.
You know, when we talk about the first Gambian artist to fill the stadium, we say ST. But it's not only ST, but Lai Ngom filled the stadium during his days. You understand? And people like Yusundur, I mean, it was news to me to know before Lai Ngom comes on stage. That's the time when Yusundur and others will perform.
Yusundur used to come here.
I was surprised to learn the whole
It's good to know history. Yusundur used to come to Banjul at the time and perform at the Odeon Cinema, the Rich Cinema at the time. They used to come, you know, with Lai Ngom and other very prominent artists like Usunjai Senior and others. Yeah, so Gambia, you know, Ndaga, we can say comfortably say that.
I mean, from Kora, I mean, it's from the Gambia.
Yeah, but we didn't nurture it as Senegal. You know, I think Senegal saw the prospects.
The talent.
And then they took over. Yeah, but Gambia, we have a good history in terms
Lolly,
of
take us through the African code.
Okay, Mr. Balde, after talking about Jimmy, may his soul rest in peace. He is really an icon, and I know Yusundur will not forget him anytime soon, because they really started very early.
Definitely.
I think
40
in his
years
teens,
is a lot.
when he was quite young, they started, and you know, going through his biography, he started with something like discussing canes, you know, just improvise.
Exactly.
And today he has become one of the world's iconic, you know, guitarists.
When you count world musicians, Yusundur cannot
so
be
this goes to
out
say,
of the 10 years.
whatever you do, just do it with, you know, what it takes to do it best.
So let's go with the code.
Yes, so virtue is better than wealth. That's the African proverb today. Virtue is better than
wealth. Wealth is sweet, oh. MS, wealth and virtue, which one do you prefer?
Virtue can bring wealth, but wealth may not bring virtue. So
can you break it down for us, please? Can you?
Yeah, no, virtue, you know, is like having a good character and righteousness, a sense of righteousness, honesty, integrity, you know, good moral values. Because it's important to have those characters. For example, some people are not wealthy, but when they speak, everybody listens. But some, you know, when they speak, people don't listen. You don't even have a voice because of your, you know, people are in positions, and, you know, when they speak, we just see the position, but not the person, you know, because of the probably the track records and, you know, you've lost that sense of integrity. You're wealthy, you have money, people know you have position, but when you speak, people don't listen to you. Yeah. So virtue is key, like it's key in person's life in terms of how you interact with people and how people will perceive you, even when you die, because some people are, you know, some people died, but still their names are alive, you know, even more than those that are living. It's because of that virtue. But people will not talk about their money.
No.
But they are talking about what they've done, who the person they are. If you look at, you're citing people like Lai Ngom and others, legends, you know, it's because of what they've done and the integrity, the legacy that they have, you know, instilled during their lifetime. Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
virtue is key.
It is very
It's
key because it stays with you forever. And wealth sometimes
no,
is
wealth
not
when you die, they will patch it. Like people will just your cars, your everything, people will just share it. But your virtue is there, integrity. When they say, oh, this man, they say, oh, wow, mashallah. Yeah.
So it is
Okay,
quite
so
important.
Lolly, what is your own point of view?
That is it. That is it. I quite agree with him. Virtue is better than wealth because, like I said, wealth can disappear anytime. You can just wake up today and have, like, God forbid, accident, and somebody's gonna inherit everything.
Yeah.
But the virtue, nobody's gonna take that from you.
Exactly.
You live with it anywhere, anytime. So yeah, it's
well,
important
in fact, society has changed, MS. Let's be realistic here.
Okay.
Now, even if you have virtue, people don't listen to you. They listen to a person who have the wealth.
But in
society have changed to an extent whereby the wealth is more respected than even the
so
wealth.
you're taking wealth over.
No, yeah, but people will listen because of your wealth, but just lose that and see what people will do.
That's the point.
Yeah, just lose the wealth. Look, when people are righteous, people know that, yes, you are righteous and you are a man of integrity. And even when they want to trust people, they don't just go and trust anyone. They trust people who are righteous. I know what you're talking about. Yes, people respect wealthy people and others. It's all right. But when it comes to trustworthiness,
you have to earn that.
People still know that, yes, you are righteous.
So you're choosing wealth.
I don't seem to
by this idea.
I don't seem to connect. I know virtue is very significant. Every individual needs to get it. Integrity, once you lose it, it will be very difficult for you to get it again. You understand? It takes a big deal for you to once lose your integrity and, come win the confidence of the people again. You understand? But I'm telling you how our society mindset works, how the notion that people have when it comes to wealth and virtue.
But there are people who believe in virtue that...
MS, okay, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll come back. And I would like to give you a point.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. And of course, it's important to choose virtue over money. I mean, very significant. But is our society working that way? That's the question. So I will leave that to our viewers to answer the question. Lolly, do you have some of the papers with you?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, you don't
papers.
have them. Okay, I have some.
Okay.
For pregnant women. Dr. urges special emergency reception for pregnant women. That's the Point newspaper. There is a doctor saying there should be a special reception for pregnant women. I believe sometimes these cases of pregnant women can be so complex and need certain special attention. But the rate of pregnant women going through different issues before giving birth, I think it's reducing drastically.
Yeah, it's going down according to reports. Yeah, but I think
maternal mortality rate.
No, before before what he's saying is before they put into like for example when you are in the process.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you guys, that's your expertise. But it's important to, when I went through the story briefly, what he was saying was genuine. He's the deputy chief medical doctor at the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital. So what he was saying is very genuine, because what happened is you have only one emergency area where you attend all kind of emergencies. but now he's saying there is a need to have an annex, you know, like where specific care will be taken, can be taken, like when pregnant women come to the hospital with an emergency, they can quickly address it, before, because sometimes it leads to death, it leads to complications, loss of child and stuff. So that was what he was saying, and he was even calling on government to pay attention to that. I think it's important.
Yes.
Definitely.
As healthcare practitioners, it is important to come up with, you know, things like that, to highlight issues that are really affecting your work. Because if you don't come out in the limelight, people will not know about it. So now that it is in the open, I think government should really strategize quickly and put in measures as to how to expand, you know, an area where, you know, antenatal women can be seen quickly, especially when they come in. Because every month you're supposed to go to the hospital for antenatal, you know, care. So it is during that process they check you to know whether the baby is fine, whether it's placed properly and stuff like that, whether you're taking your medications. Because they know some pregnant women
I even wanted to say, and it causes problems.
Exactly.
Like sometimes they refuse to
go to the clinic, follow the monthly.
And you have to also blame the husband as well, because this is a process. It has to be a joint thing. You know, you monitor your wife and stuff. I know some people, mostly, they don't want to take these medications.
They
and
don't.
It brings, especially the FIFA, that red one. It's important.
Because it's stages. It is in stages. Anytime you go, the doctor knows what you need at that stage. So it's very important for pregnant women to follow that process. And whenever they give you the medication, you're not supposed to keep it. You're supposed to take it. This is why now they're even imposing on them to take it at the hospital. If they give you the fancida, you will take it instant. So some will say, oh no, I haven't got breakfast.
I'll be dizzy.
I feel dizzy.
Stuff,
So they will ask you to go get breakfast, take it and relax for a few hours, then you can go home.
I think it's important that way. If not, you
the
kill
iodine
too.
They give you iodine. They are things that really help. And you know, these doctors know what they're doing. If they give you, they're not going to harm your baby. But I think is us women that are sometimes very stubborn.
No, but the husbands too. I think they have to support as well when your
it's
wife
your responsibility. That's your baby there.
I mean, you have to be there to console
your. Like some men, they're too busy. They don't even know when I'm supposed to go to nurse.
No, for me, we go together. I mean,
you're supposed to take
I've been
me.
going to nurse with my wife.
You have to, man. You have to carry it together.
So those are things that should be done.
The
it's the
easy with
responsibility of everybody.
Boka ñu jàppale wante because biir yombut nit moo nekk sa biir bi
loolu mu ngi mer de mu ngi kaas
waaw di da ngeen ñu war a toppatoo nekkul noos kese da leen ñu jëndal lekka toppatoo xam nga di seet suñu
waaye yenn saa tamit there are certain things like you crave for something which is not good for you sometimes, you know, like it can cause large baby and stuff.
Wow.
So you also have to make sure that you limit your hamga cook limom lumbugarek.
Wow, because you
but
crave
sometimes
but
sometimes you have to tell her, oh, please, don't you think?
It's not good for
but
you.
sometimes they insist.
Too much of everything.
Like
for myself, I know when I'm in that stage, I don't need anything sugary. What I need is spice, shower. You don't get me that, I don't eat.
So you see now.
So my husband will be like, so take me pepper soup. I will be like, if no pepper soup, no cooking.
And too much of that is bad for you.
But it's not me, because when I'm normal, I don't take spice.
Yeah, but that is why it's important in that stage. You know, they say, you know, how do they call it? Postnatal depression.
Yeah.
You know, and then after.
Yeah.
Pre and post. These are important things, conditions. And that is why it's important.
So let's move on. The Foreigner newspaper. Hundreds, at risk of statelessness in the Gambia. The Foreigner newspaper main headline.
Statelessness.
Yes. What do they mean by that?
Statelessness is like, for example, people who are staying within a specific country for a long period of time, and they cannot acquire the citizenship. The document. I think this was a report that was commissioned by the United Nations for Refugees. I think High Commissioner for Refugees, if I don't get it right, anyway. Yeah, so about specifically on the people that are at Ghana Town. You know Ghana Town, they came here in the 1960s. These were migrants from Ghana. They came through the sea, and then they came and they settled there in Ghana Town. And over the years, they've
they've
kids,
married, you know.
they've married,
they've settled.
But if you look at the Gambia's constitution, it's not so flexible in terms of naturalization. One, you have to be here 15 years, and you have to be regularizing your status. Imagine you are born in the Gambia, and your child is born in the Gambia, and that child is asked to go to pay for a permit.
That's what I'm saying.
How would you like? You would be like, what? Me, I'm a
Gambian
born,
citizen.
and you want to go and tell me to pay permit. So if you don't regularize your status for 15 years, then it becomes a problem to naturalize. You know, so that is the problem. So they are not, and there was a time Jammeh made an executive order on this. If you could recall, I think in the 2020s, you know, I could not recall. You know, when he did, you know, an executive order, that is not legal. So some of them were able to get their passports and stuff. You know, Jammeh sometimes when he just said,
he can't do anything.
Yeah, he can just say. So, but when they got it, when their papers expired, they could not renew it. It becomes a problem. Because now what they do is, when you go to the immigration, they will ask you to bring your parents' paper.
Documents.
And that document, and even on your document, it will be NGP, non-Gambian parent. It's written on the birth certificate. So when you go there, and they say, your parents are not born here. So, but I'm born here in the country.
Here,
but the law is saying you cannot be a citizen. So that becomes a problem. So now how to solve that problem? I think it's important for Gambians, for either they have a special mechanism to ensure that statelessness is clear.
Because you remember just recently I interviewed this guy at the Sarakuna market, you know. He's the black silver guy. So he's been in the country for the longest time, since the First Republic. And he can't regularize his status. He can't naturalize.
And you cannot go back.
He's married here. He have kids.
Yes,
he told me.
I've watched that story.
Yes, he told me his children, one of them is in grade 9, the other is in grade 12.
Yeah. And do you know there is a commitment ECOWAS in the ECOWAS sub-region, even Gambia, the Banjul Declaration, there was a declaration when they had a meeting here that in 2024 they have to you know, make sure that they address statelessness in the ECOWAS region. But now we are not meeting it. We are in 2025. And that becomes a problem. Now, how do you address it? Then it means those declarations, those agreements, is failing.
Yeah, we are not working.
Yeah, so how are we going to address that as a country? You know, I think it's important. This statelessness should be addressed once and for all, because these people cannot go back to those countries because maybe it's your great-grandfather or your grandfather.
This guy even told me that his father died, his mom died. He don't have any relative back in Guinea.
Their great-grandfather,
you know?
Some
so
of them,
like
it's their grandfather that came here and they died. The mother inherited that, they died. And so what do you expect?
They don't
Where
have
can they go?
Where
they cannot go anywhere.
Exactly. I think those are things that should be reviewed. I mean, we should take a look at you know, our processes sometimes. At times, you know, you need to be, I'm not saying to be lenient, but you need to look at certain conditions, you know, which can warrant other people to get what they are supposed to get. Imagine if you can go to the United States and your child is born in the United States. Your child is a United States citizen.
Canada, people go to Canada and then, you know, and other countries. You know, so for me, I think it's important. We are all Africans, and I'm not saying just open the floodgates.
Especially that you look at their records too.
Exactly.
If they have been here without any criminal record, I think sometimes that should warrant, you know, the government to look at, you know, that maybe we should try.
Yeah, maybe government can do.
Stay for so long, like 30, 40 years. Obviously, you don't even know anything on your, you know, original.
Going forward, let them change the constitutional provision there and then put a legislation to address this once and for all. The state can do it. If not, it will be a burden. you know, they cannot access certain things. You know, for example, when they are sick, when they go to the hospital, which document are you going to present? You know, all these opportunities. They are right, they are political right, civil and political right. Is being, as human beings, they have rights as human beings. So they have been denied those rights. So they have right to vote.
Talking
so,
of corruption, I mean, before the program started, I asked Lolly where the finances of the Kankurang Festival. He said there was a team to man that. Kuntau Area Council CEO admits bypassing procurement rules in motorbike purchase.
Bypasses?
Yes, the procurement rule. So sometimes we put our laws and people don't abide by these laws. And MS, sometimes when I think about that, it gives me a lot of stress.
Yeah, it's a whole problem. Like, it's a problem. If you look at the audit reports, you know, even in the mainstream government, like the central government, you see a lot of malpractices in terms of audits, like procurement rather, you know, because most of the corruption, like almost more than 80% of all corruptions or financial fraud and mismanagement of funds goes
to procurement.
Yeah, it happens through procurement.
Sure.
Yeah, so there was an act. They have revised the act, and then they've changed certain laws, very prominent laws and progressive. But it's so difficult because people are not held to account. You know, these audits and then all these reports that are coming out in terms of mismanagement and malpractices. I think people should be held to account. Institutions should also take this seriously, especially the local councils. We've had a lot of revelations in the local government commission, which is really daunting, you know, damning revelations that are coming out from there. So I think Gambia should learn and move forward, because if not, a lot of these funds will go. For example, when a motorbike is, let's say, $10,000, I can inflate the price to 30. So you just talk to the vendor, and then the vendor give you an invoice of maybe 30,000 while it is $10,000. And those are kind of things that are happening. And people, individuals who are not even responsible for procurement, will be given monies to execute that. That is why we need to regulate that, because if not, monies will be missing and people will inflate prices. And you know, before you know, then there is a serious corruption and people are suffering. The people that are, the monies that are meant for the people will not reach out to the grassroots.
Absolutely.
That becomes a problem.
Absolutely. Well, corruption is a big problem. We've seen the local council commission. Some of the revelations are definitely staggering. When you look at it, you wonder, actually, I have been in the Gambia for a long time and this has been happening. Imagine taking $6 million
into your own account.
Instead of council's account, you put it in your own account. That is really...
I think there should be stringent laws, like, you know, tough punishment on perpetrators, especially if you're found guilty of this act.
I'm hoping that
enough evidence, you know, I think the punishment should really be tough, so that, you know, it should serve as a lesson for others too.
Yeah, the anti-corruption.
Or else it's just, we're going to just rotate
merry-go-round. Yeah, the anti-corruption commission also, I think government is working towards setting it. I'm hoping that it will be something that will be very robust, not like other countries where even their anti-corruption commission's chair or so are found wanting. So we need that commission to come and regulate some of these things and make sure whosoever is found wanting is brought to book. When you are innocent, it's okay, but when, and also they should be very, very, you know, impartial and fair in terms of how to address issues.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we will take a look at a video of Gambia's independence. I mean, we've discussed with the UDP leader, Honorable Usainu Dabo. We want to make sure before independence, it's the 60th, so we want to make sure every day we have something on QTV, at least to show people this is our 60th independence, and it's very important to us as a nation. You understand? So we conducted an interview with lawyer Usainu Dabo of the UDP and his reflections and you know, the importance of independence and how have we gone as a country. It's important to hear from him. We'll be back.
Usainu Dabo was born 17 years before the Gambia gained its independence from the British colonial government. Like most residents of the capital, Banjul, Dabo witnessed the historic moment on the eve of independence on February 17, 1965, when the Union Jack was lowered and replaced with the Gambian flag, officially marking the country's independence.
1 minute after midnight, lights came on, we saw the Gambian flag up. And, you know, we were kids. We clapped, jumped, shouted, you know, and we are happy that that this was we are going to independence, you know, but be in charge of ourselves. And I went to bed, of course, with great excitement that the following day, 18th, I was going to take part in the march past. On the 18th, I was in my blazer, and we went to march past, and for me. That was a great day in my life.
From 1965 to the present, the Gambia has made significant strides in development. However, the country finds itself at a crossroads, struggling to adopt a new constitution that would usher in a third republic. Here, lawyer Usainu Dabo shares his perspective on the ongoing bid for a new constitution.
We have always wanted a constitution that the Gambian people deserve. That's as well with our fight. We support a new constitution, but we do not support any constitution. So the new constitution, a new constitution that certainly responds to the aspirations of the Gambian people.
The Gambia government, in collaboration with the private sector and international partners, is committed to achieving rice self-sufficiency by 2030. One of the key partners in this initiative is the Korea Partnership for Innovation in Agriculture. Korea is employing cutting-edge agricultural technologies to develop climate-smart rice varieties in the Central River region. Amidst this significant transformation, the leader of the UDP believes that farming should be diversified to maximize its impact.
We need to invest in horticulture and encourage our women gardeners. Not only encourage them, but also give them the required assistance so that the vegetables they grow, when they are harvested, they could have it exported.
Mr. Dabo believes that the way forward in the Gambia in the next 60 years should be anchored on meaningful investments.
I think the way forward for another 60 years is that we take stock of what has happened in this past 60 years. Try to identify our missteps and make sure that for the next 60 years, we do not repeat those missteps.
While Gambians remain optimistic about what the future holds, Usainu Dabo expresses deep gratitude to the founding fathers of independence, especially Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, for laying the foundation for the present-day Gambia. Osman Charter.
Right, that's the leader of the United Democratic Party there, Usainu Dabo, talking to our reporter Usman Jata. It's important, you know, for us to come together as a country and make this a successful independence. I mean, his reflections are very important. You know, a statesman's comments and perspective is significant for the development of every country. I mean, he's also given advice what should we do as a country when it comes to farming, when it comes to development goals, what should be done. It's very important, MS.
Yeah, I agree with him. Definitely, we really have to reflect and invest more on sustainable agriculture. We've seen the dynamics of the world. The recent executive order in the US is affecting the Gambia. And who knows, even Europeans can also now start thinking where to invest their money, their taxpayers' money, because everybody, the world is in crisis now. And, you know, climate change is a reality, and, you know, we have a lot of shocks and economic shocks, global realities in the stock market, as well as war and other conflicts that are affecting, you know, Africa. So now what can we do as Africa? We have the land, we have the materials. These people are coming from Europe, America to come to harness our natural resources. For example, the blue economy in terms of the Atlantic Ocean and the River Gambia. Why can't we utilize that? People are coming out to harness, you know, our minerals in terms of the fertile soil that we have, farming, and then, so why can't we utilize those things?
We can.
So
I
believe
it's a matter of being committed.
Yeah.
And we have to rethink again.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, MS,
Thank
for
you.
reviewing these stories with us. And we are always grateful. You are always willing to come and share at your free time. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, most welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
So viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program continues. We'll be back.
Q Money e Orange Money Johnny weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni hiɗa wawi nuldude mbuɗi iwra ko Gambia ɗo yaha Sénégal e Q Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma rewa ɗon ka Orange Money nder Sénégal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi hiɗa wawi noddude Q Money customer care e 133 Q Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji. Q Money anin Orange Money ye bulodi nyola pour ka kodi kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan anin Q Money wallet e ka mune batu e muna fan Q Money account wala sign pour ka dati ka kodoki e terimal anila dimbayal kana anin Orange Money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q Money customer care commandi 133 Q Money suñu kalpe ñing sartolle bala Q Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xarit ak sa mbokk yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun nga call Q Money customer care si 133 Q Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Did you know you can buy cash power using Q Money Wallet absolutely free up to $30,000 Cs? Use our app or dial 323# and select Q Power.
Back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde, and I am with Lolly M. Kamara, our special Lolly. Yeah, so Lolly. No, you are special.
Really?
Don't worry. Hamga, luñ dé wax moy su démé même xat nit ñi xalaat la rek xamal né da nga am jëriñ.
Dama pare. Mr. Tunkara mi lay dem waxal.
So da nga dem attack Tunkara.
Tunkara lay dem attack.
Let's move to the next segment. Special Olympic Gambia launches Unified Champion School Program. Gentlemen and ladies, it's good to have you in the studio. And so you are Katin Mori, Program Coordinator, and we have Omar Toure, Sports Director. Yes, so it's a tradition here. We try giving ladies their dues. So ladies first, how are you?
I'm good, I'm doing very well.
Good.
How are you?
Very good. Yeah, so please, can you take us through? But before that, gentlemen, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
How is everything going?
Everything is going well, and thank you for having us today.
Nice, it's good to have you
both here.
Tell us about this championship.
Okay, first off, I want to start by explaining what Special Olympics is.
Sure. Yes.
Special Olympics is a global movement that fosters sports, that provides sports for people with intellectual disabilities. But Special Olympics is more than just sports.
Okay.
Yes, it fosters youth leaderships, it fosters health programs, and so on. So this new project that we're launching here in the Gambia is called Unified Champion Schools.
Okay.
Yes, which mainly has to do with the youths and schools. So Unified Champion Schools is a movement also that fosters inclusion in schools for people with and without intellectual disabilities, hence the Unified.
Yes. Name. Yeah, that's great. So for how long will the project last? And are you going to roll it out to all the schools across the country?
This project right now is for 6 months, but we're going to extend it. We're hoping to extend it. We launched the project. We launched the project with 12 schools in the Combo area for now.
Okay.
Yes. So our future aim is to go across schools across the Gambia.
Yes. So let's move to the gentleman. How does this program promote inclusion in schools?
Okay, the UCS, as my colleague rightly mentioned, is aimed at promoting social inclusions in schools. So when we hear about intellectual disabilities, because people mistake it for physical disability, which is very different. When we hear intellectual disabilities, there's something that deals with the neurological system.
Okay.
So we have things like autism, Down syndrome.
Down syndrome.
Yes. Down syndrome is well visible. Cerebral palsy. So we have some hidden intellectual disabilities, which is like dyslexia, and most of the students in school suffer with this condition, but people don't know because they are a bit slow when it comes to learning.
Okay.
You know, so teachers or educators that don't have the idea of what dyslexia is, they might, just call them names like they're slow
or mentally retarded.
Yeah, they're stupid, words like that. But there's something that we want to educate the teachers on and go to schools trying to let them know what intellectual disabilities is all about and how we can include people with intellectual disabilities into our societies. Yes, this is something that we aim to promote.
So which school participated on this?
We have 12 schools at the moment that we are currently working with. But after then, we want to extend more. We are working with Gambia Methodist Academy, Sibek International School, Marina, Gambia High, JC5, Nusrat, Zenith.
Okay, that's a lot of schools.
Yeah, that is a lot of schools, and we hope someday it will be extended, like you said, to other schools in the other parts of the country. So what are some of the activities that you will be having in these schools?
You want to go?
Some of the activities would be mainly sports.
Okay.
Yes. We are giving equal opportunities for people with and without intellectual disabilities to play the same sports. Yes. Not like, oh, you play for 2 minutes and then you rest and then the others will play. No.
Okay.
So it's them being able to play together, the youths in schools, the students being able to accept that these people with intellectual disabilities also have the ability to play equally as they can. And also there's also youth leadership. As I mentioned earlier, that Special Olympics is not just about sports. We also foster youth leadership, help students with and without intellectual disabilities in meaningful roles in the society, because some might not be athletic. Yes, not all students are athletic.
Absolutely, that's true.
So we look for ways in which we can help them. Maybe some might be good at public speaking and other stuff. I started as a youth leader in Special Olympics before being hired as a program coordinator. I don't have intellectual disabilities. I was paired with someone, a student that had intellectual disabilities. So I was her unified partner.
Okay.
Yes. So that's how Special Olympics helps grow in other certain things, and also whole school engagement, because obviously not all the students in the whole school can participate in the sports and can participate in the youth leadership, but also we want to also raise awareness about intellectual disabilities around the schools.
So how are school authorities, welcoming these ideas, especially in the schools that you have so far have this program rolled?
Authorities, as in the head?
Yes.
Oh, the heads are welcome to it. They are open to it, because before we started the launch, we had to go to each and every school, explain to them what we're about and all of that. We received very welcoming gestures from the heads, because it's something they are open to, and they believe also that people with intellectual disabilities do have the same right, because in Gambia we don't really have much special schools, and students that have intellectual disabilities that are being integrated in those schools are being left out, because we don't have proper training. The teachers don't have proper training here to take care or to know how to deal with people with intellectual disabilities. So that's also like a huge challenge. So they're open to it, to be able to learn more, which they can help their students too.
So how are coaches involved, in this program?
We try to recruit them. We've been having coach training before, so in which we invite a lot of people to just come in and know what the Special Olympics is all about. Because we don't try forcing people to get into it. We bring you on we bring you on board, have a coach training, so that way we'll try to develop your mind. And if you have interest in joining the Special Olympics, not because of, let's say, the opportunities that are there, but you have the intention of joining the coaches, so we'll just select you to be a volunteer. I myself started with the Special Olympics since they came to the Gambia to build a movement. I was working as an architect, but I went on volunteering, so I had the passion. I went deep into it, so I've been volunteering for like 3 years, since 2017, and before I was employed to be a staff and to be the the sports director of the Special Olympics. And I can tell you very well, Special Olympics changed a lot in me, because I had no idea about intellectual disabilities before.
So, Catherine, how does this program encourage unity among the students?
Okay, so growing up, we had this perceptions that these kids had genes, or they're, sorry to say, witches and all of that. So
we try to associate them with some other stuff.
We try to associate them with some other stuff, and we they're kind of segregated. In the Gambia, especially, kids don't like to mingle with those type of kids. They don't like to play with them. They think maybe they're dangerous, or they do something to them, or something like that. So our aim is to make the youths or the students in school see that they're very harmless. They only want to feel included. Yeah, so our aim is to be able to at least
change the mindset.
Yeah, change the mindset of this.
Yes, about how people see these people.
Yes, and it all starts with the youths. Yes.
Yeah, because we mingle with them in the same school, and the quality of time we spend with them in school too is huge. So if you're trying to bridge that gap, I think that will go a long way. Yeah.
So evaluation. How do we evaluate the success of this program?
Unified Champion Schools just started in the Gambia. We're just bringing it in. Special Olympics is worldwide. It's a global movement, as I said. Other countries have had Unified Champion Schools for years in their schools. We were selected, Special Olympics selected Gambia to launch, which, a grant was given for us to be able to fund this project, for us to be able to go into the schools, go into the societies, and all of that. So, yeah. So, evaluation-wise, We haven't actually started. We just launched it. We're starting in March with this month. We're going to have our first coach training for the Unified Champion Schools.
Okay.
And also the Youth Leadership Summit, our first Youth Leadership Summit for the students. Yeah.
Well, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So we're hoping to see you do more with the project before the end of the 6 months, and you'll be able to expand.
So
it
before
to
we close
other
this
parts of the
segment, I
country.
mean, is there any collaboration with other organizations as well to partner? Do you have partnerships?
No, not really. That's what we've struggled with. Special Olympics in general, whether it's Unified Champion Schools, whether it's sports, whether it's attending World Games, National Games, anything. That's what we've struggled with. But we're very, very open to partners. We're very, very open to partners. Yeah.
Okay, if this is a success, I mean, are we having the intention to expand this to the other parts of the country?
Yeah, actually, we're planning to we're planning to go up countries to introduce them to Special Olympics and what we do, because when we have competitions here, we only work with the people around combos.
Yes.
So we want to extend, go to the up countries too, and introduce Special Olympics there.
Yes.
So anytime there's games or things like that, we can just call everybody to compete, and then we choose the best. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be great, because here people have opportunity to send their kids to school, but in the other side of the country, you don't have that.
Yeah, so that's
they're even left at home, you know, just doing nothing.
You will be surprised to know some of them are just locked inside.
Yes, so it will be good. You take the project there and, you know, raise awareness about, you know, this special kids too.
Yeah. But Special Olympics is an NGO, so we run solely on funding and on grants. So that's why we're open to partnerships. If we can partner with different organizations, different private sectors to be able to move it to the up countries, it will be very, very good. Yeah, I think people with intellectual disabilities do deserve a chance.
Yes, so just keep on doing what you do, and inshallah someday you'll have that partnership.
Thank you, Catherine and Omar Toure, for coming on the program, and we hope to
you.
engage you more in the future.
Inshallah.
Yeah. So viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be back.
Thank you.
Choose Register Meter. Enter your meter number. Dial *323# and follow these simple steps. Number 1, select option 3 for Q Power. Number 2, choose option 1 to buy any amount of Q Power. Enjoy free QCell airtime every time you cash in to purchase Q Power. For any inquiries, call 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalbe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Hidandi da wawi sodude cash power e Q Money wallet maong te ayobata hai hunde ida wawi sode ko yehi ha guluji chapan $30. Ko watano baby wadu dial *323# joka sartaji ding suboda option 3 fi Q Power. Ontumasi suboda register meter number sa gaini natina number meter maong. Wadu dial *323# joka sartaji ding suboda option 3 fi Q Power. Ontumasi suboda ko jelu falda sodude. Awawa hebude ko bura andrere free QCell airtime wattu kala soduɗa Q Power fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi nde wawi noddude 133 Q Money suñu kalpe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Korea ne ko anila Q Money wallet isa Q Power sanno katafo wulitan saba andung ita fenjola. Ibe minkela ibanna Apple download la wala yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow ye register mita tombo. Fulanjao yela mita nomba dundi. Yesta 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow iba number 3 la detela puri Q Power soto no. Fulanjao iba number 1 la detela katombondirke hapola ilafta min sanna.
We're back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's move to the other segment of this program. NACA sets benchmark to minimum academic standards for educational institutions in the Gambia. And it's important for us to discuss their mandate. I mean, this is the first time, I think, having NACA on this program this morning. So we have Amadou Toure, Curriculum and Standard Development Manager, NACA, and of course Professor Joshua Adeleke, and a consultant for higher education. So gentlemen, it's good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we're so glad to have you and to talk about this program.
Nice being here too.
Yes. So let's start with NACA's mandate, your role. As far as educational institution is concerned. We'll start with you.
Good morning, and thank you for having us. I'm Amadou Toure, Standards and Curriculum Development Manager for NACA. NACA, short for National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority. And so you can see even within our name what our mandate is. We are a regulatory authority for tertiary and higher education. And by being a regulatory authority, our core mandate is to ensure that we have quality education at these levels of education. That's our core mandate.
Okay, why did you come up with setting this standard for educational institutions?
These are quality assurance measures, and quality assurance, what it does is to have public buy-in, public trust of what it is that you do in the provision of education. The public needs to have confidence in the quality of the educational services in the country, not only to guarantee employability of students who go through these programs, but also ensure that training is relevant to the needs of the labor market. Education and training is all about supporting the economy of a country. And therefore, our mandate is to ensure that our programs make our educational services relevant to the labor market.
Interesting. So, Lolly, let's
okay, it is very important to come up with this benchmark, because if you want to have quality, you must have things in place.
Exactly.
So I want to know, what are some of the criteria that you're looking at in the standard?
Okay. Now, let me first of all appreciate this gesture. The first thing we look for at the end of the day, the higher education, the major aim is to produce quality graduates. Number one, to develop the economy, then also for mobility, because
the higher educations in the Gambia, they are not producing graduates for the Gambia community alone. There will be transferability of students. So some of the criteria we are looking for is the students that will, in terms of skills, because that is the trend now. Then also we are thinking of building knowledge economy. So if I'm here, I came from Nigeria, then I should be able to transfer the skills I've acquired to support what is going on, which I'm doing now. So the students that higher educations in the Gambia will produce, we want them to have skills and competencies that will make them suitable for employment anywhere they go, whether within or outside the Gambia.
Interesting. So how will NACA measure compliance with the standards?
Oh, yeah. Recently, we had what we call sensitization program, because when I came on board, what I was thinking about is if you want someone to follow on with standards, the first thing is to create awareness, let the concerned people key into, which we have started to do. So we have done the first level where we invited all the vice chancellors, and we also invited cognate ministries that are concerned, and we were able to sell the idea. Many of them could see the reason. One of the cardinal reasons why the benchmark should be set is for accountability. So if I will tell you that you have performed or you have not performed, then you set something before me as benchmark by which you judge me, by which you assess me, by which you gauge me. So we have done the sensitization at first level. Then we'll go for the next one where the people that we implement, because the people we invited, they were like policymakers, stakeholders, but we have grassroots sensitization too. That is the level we are going to.
And you target colleges and high schools?
High school, then universities.
And universities
Exactly.
across the Gambia?
Across the Gambia.
Okay, so how will NACA standard, ensure there is quality education? How are you going to do that? How are you going to, what procedure are you going to use?
Oh, yeah. We've not, recently we developed a scale, and as a consultant, recently the scale was sent to me for input. We have that scale on ground. So then during the sensitization meeting, we made them to understand that the benchmarks we are setting will not just be by imposition, then also will also allow for 30% of inclusion from the institution, because every institution, for example, you said, we know it's for technology, then we have UTG, which is conventional, then the University of Education is coming up. So all these skill-based institutions, they have their traditions, and we will expect the infusion of that tradition into the benchmark we are setting. So, and we have the scale by which we go around to see how they are complying with, but the starting point is carrying them along.
Yes, let's engage Mr. Toure. Okay. What is the reaction of institutions to this NACA's benchmark?
And what really, triggered this move?
Okay, I start with your question. What triggered this move? First of all, it is important to establish the fact that we are not starting from scratch.
Okay.
We have had our regulatory instruments developed since the establishment of NACA that we use to monitor compliance of existing tertiary and higher education institutions in the country. But we need to, there is the need to standardize this instrument to bring on board all participating institutions in the country.
Okay.
And that's the kind of the drive behind developing this benchmark minimum academic standard. And so to answer your question, how would we ensure that or how
the reaction,
the reactions of institutions? I would say that they are kind of observing, our regulatory instruments. They are gradually complying. This is a program or an initiative that we do not have to just pick and run with. because the phenomenon is new, we have to baby walk through these schemes with the institutions, give them upper hands to lift them up, show them what they need to do better and what they need to improve on. So we are working together, and they are collaborating, listening, and gradually complying. So the long and short answer to your question is that they are really warming up, to the idea of quality assurance, because it is not about NACA, it is about the individual institutions and their reputation. When they comply with our standards, then they get themselves on a platform, of recognition where people buy into their programs. So quality assurance is more to the benefit of the institutions and other stakeholders, including the students, because students also want to have value for their money, and they would only want to go to institutions which have their programs accredited by NACA. So accreditation is a very important position, it's a very important requirement for all institutions, because if you get your programs and the institution accredited, it gives it that recognition for stakeholders to buy into your programs, and for parents, for example, to be able to have the confidence in your institution and the programs to send their wards or students.
What if a particular institution fails to meet these criteria, the standards?
I don't think there is any room, because that will be to the disadvantage, so to speak, to the institutions. It is mandatory for institutions to comply with our regulatory instruments. Failing which, you are eliminating yourself out from the services of educational provision in this country. So it's a mandatory requirement. If you want to provide educational services at these levels, which is the tertiary and higher education level, and by tertiary and higher education level, just for understanding purposes or clarity purposes, our policy documents define non-degree awarding post-secondary institutions as tertiary, including TVET centers, and degree awarding institutions, basically universities, as higher education institutions. So these are the two tiers of education within the mandate of NACA.
Professor Joshua, I mean, do this apply to both private and public institutions?
Exactly. So it's applicable to them, because when you see the focus we said before us, if anybody will say, why benchmarking? For 4 reasons. Number one, quality assurance. Like Takin, we've talked so much about that. The second one is accountability. So the students came in, many of them will pay so much or sponsored by some people. Then you should be accountable for such big fees paid to you. So if we fail to set the benchmark, then we should not take them accountable for not grooming or for not developing the student as expected. Then number 2 is about student mobility. We said that one also as focus. So it's not compulsory that a student should start with UTG and complete with UTG, especially if we are trying to tailor the higher education in the Gambia to what global practice is all about. Global practice says that, if I should leave University A, I should be able to transfer my credit to another University B. But if the standard at University B are not comparable to University A, then that will not be feasible. So we said that one also. Then we are talking, number 4 is the curriculum relevance. Because now we are not talking about making people to cram out again, but we are talking about having competencies that will make them employable, that will make them sellable. So with this, I cannot see the reason why private university will not factor. So, and that is the way to go. And to add to the former question you raised, the NACA is a quality assurance agency. So now it's not going to be business as usual. You don't comply, then your programs will not be accredited to start with. So if programs are not accredited, then you are not even running that program at first instance. So is
there a timeline, I mean, for this standard?
Yes. So we've set the next session. That is why we are starting early. We know that most institutions, they commence their program around July, August, down to October. So we believe that sensitization, bringing people together for inclusion of institutional relevance, all that should end latest by April, May. So by June, we should have everything ready.
Okay. Zature, how will NACA help institutions at least to meet these standards?
We have already started doing that by engaging them from the very onset. First starting with the sensitization, which emerging from which is an outline of an instrument that we will be using, and we will be together working with the same institution to develop the instruments, and so they will be familiar with the criteria for evaluating, their level of, or measuring their level of compliance. And so what you help build, you identify with. So they will take ownership of what it is that we are developing, to be able, what we are developing to use for monitoring their performance.
So that institution is found one thing. Can they appeal?
Oh, yeah, maybe to add to that before I respond to that question.
Okay.
When we started this move to benchmark the standards, the starting point was to collect data, and we did that a lot. So it wasn't yesterday we started. So we have with us now what each institution has in terms of staffing, in terms of resources, in terms of that. So the starting point is advisory visits to them. Now you apply for this, you say you are running a master program, you say you are running a postgraduate program, you say that. So look at what you have. So the starting point, even before we begin the implementation. So we are having in mind the NACA, we embark on advisory visits to the institution. So they are aware. So, and we believe before the actual implementations, areas where they have found wantings, they will have rectified that, because nobody will like, no institution will like its program not to be accredited. No, I don't think, because that's the business, and that is what they are living for. So,
well, finally, Loli,
just to commend you for this great initiative, because if we want quality, we must put in measures, and this benchmark standard is really to ensure there is quality, accountability, and outcomes also for our students.
Exactly, positive outcomes.
Exactly, because like you said, we're paying money and we need to account for our
value
money.
for money.
Value for money. So it's a good move, and we must commend you, and we hope to see it, bear fruits. Inshallah.
So are we going to adjust the entry requirements for institutions as well?
Already there. That's why I said we are not starting from scratch. We've already developed a national qualifications framework, and part of the input of that qualifications framework is to determine minimum admission requirements to existing programs in institutions, at different levels. So we have minimum criteria that students would have to meet, to enter into any existing program. Would this new phenomenon inform any new adjustment? It is highly likely, because the new approach may redress existing practice, and if that that being the case, it may have some ripple on existing practice, which may include reconsidering minimum requirements for entering into the existing programs.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ture, for coming on the program, and we hope to engage you more.
Exactly. No, we will even engage you more on this program.
Exactly.
Yes.
We'll be willing to.
Exactly, because when it comes to our education system, we need to set up standards.
Yeah.
I mean, standards makes the difference at some point. So thank you very much for the work
and
you do.
I want also to thank you so much, because when you are coming up with this the sensitization of the public too, because it will border on so many things that we are focusing on 2 areas now critically: the industrial relationship between the training institutions and the world of work.
Absolutely.
So like now, I believe that you coming into our department of journalism. So if you see any of them coming up to say we want to have an experience there, so then you know, oh, is the program. So we are collaborating to make everything work. Then in the area of research, so the business will not be as the same again. So we want to really promote research so much that everything we are doing, whether with QTV, is data-driven, is research-supported, so that the country can move as expected.
That's all we want.
Thank you so much.
That's all we need.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you very
so
much,
much.
Lolly.
So
This is all we have, and we'll be back here tomorrow again.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we will be back here tomorrow again. Until then.
Viewers, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a wonderful day.